Hello again, this is Shawn West, and we are going to start our part 2 of our 3-part series on how to tie a deer hair Dahlberg Diver. For this section, we're going to be attaching the deer hair. For my thread, I'm going to use a Dunspell poly in 100, GSB 100. We're going to use our fly right glue for each clump, and of course we got to have some deer hair, and so I'm going to go with a white belly with some yellow on the sides, a black circle, and then olive on top. So let's get started. One of the things about working with the gel spun poly is that this stuff is pretty slick. And if you were to start your thread, how you normally would, what happens a lot of times is it just pulls out how it did right there. So what I always do is, because I want everything to be solid, I want to have a dab of brush on super glue and stick it right there. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to adhere the slick thread down to the hook. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to wrap it back, and then I'm going to wrap it forward. And then I'm going to spin my thread to where it lays flat. You'll see me doing that a lot. What happens is that if you try to spin or stack the deer hair with this thread as a coil, it'll slice right through your deer hair, and that doesn't help our cause any. So let's start off with our white deer hair, and I'm going to take a moderate clump of the white. And then I'm going to comb out all the underfur. So this is all I'm getting out, all this garbage. We don't need that. And then what I'm going to do is put this in our stacker. Wrap it on my bench a couple times. And then I'm just going to trim off, it's hard to see here I guess, these rough edges. Now I have a reason for leaving these extra long, and we'll be going over that in just a moment. So we'll measure how far back we want these tips to be, and we're going to put it on at a 45-degree angle. Make 2 loose wraps, pull it a bit snug, and then I'm just going to roll it over onto the bottom. And then I'm going to hold and pull straight down. Make another wrap and pull it straight down. Now you can't see it or not, but these tips are all on one side, so I just put it around the hook so that now it's a bit more even. So put that away, and then we're going to go with our yellow. Do the same thing. I'm not going to use as big a clump because I got to put on a yellow, a black, and chartreuse. So again, I'll comb out all the underfur. I know you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just combing it out with a little hair comb that I have here. And again, I'm going to trim out all those little scragglies on the tips. Now this yellow is going to be shorter than the white. And again, I'll explain that in just a minute or two. So I got it along the hook shank. I'm going to make my 2 wraps right on top of one another. Then I'm going to hold down those threads and support the hook with my other hand and pull straight down. Make another wrap and we'll pull it straight down. Now if I would have left that as a rope, it would have sliced through this deer hair. It doesn't take a whole lot. So next is going to be black. Now I don't need a lot of black because all I want is just a little bit of a ring. As you can see, it's not all that much. Now if you want a thicker ring, you'd use more hair. But I'm thinking this is all I need for this. We'll stack this one again, how we did the first 2 clumps. We'll try to align those tips. Got a little bit of static going here. I have dryer sheets. If it becomes an issue, I'll wipe down my hair with the static sheet, and that'll make things a little. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten down the yellow. Again, I'm going to put it right on top. We'll make 2 wraps. 1, 2. I'll pinch it down. Now I'm basically, the reason I'm doing the pinch down on top is I basically want bands. I'm not actually looking for dots. If I wanted dots, I'd pinch it on each side. So now I'm going to go with our olive. And you can get as creative as you want with these flies. You know, if you're new to deer hair, I would just use a solid color to start with. You know, and then work your way up to stacking, you know, yellow over white or what have you. Okay, let me even up these tips on this one. What you're going to find is that I'm not very dainty when it comes to this stuff with the deer hair. I torque it. That's why I'm using that gel spun poly. Now again, I'm going to make a little divot. Put this out of the way because we're done with that. And we'll add our final color here. Again, our 2 wraps. 1. Sometimes you have to zigzag through this to get through it. There we go. And you know, I don't have any hands on it. It's not flat. It's not starting to flare or nothing yet. So what we're going to do is pinch it on top and pull straight down. There again, and go straight down. Now, here's where we get to why I left the white so long. I left it long so that I can actually go in here and drop down the white and pull this back. It just makes it a lot easier. It isn't a perfect method, but it sure helps when you want to separate the bottom from the top. When I'm feeling lazy, what I'll do is I would do, you know, a white belly, but then I would add a white on top, a really small white, and that way it'll give me a small little band of white on top of the fly, but then I don't have to spend all this extra time separating out the colors. Let's see if we get this to where it'll show up for you. Sorry about that. So there you go. You got white on bottom, yellow on top. And if there's a stray white on top or a stray yellow on bottom, you just slice it out or pull it out. You can go either route. So I got that done. Now I'm going to use my handy dandy Bic hair packer. And well, actually, before I even do that, I got this all separated. I'm going to hold on to the deer hair and I'm going to pull this tight and go around the front, and then I'll pull it back. What that does is that locks it in place. Now I can make my 3 wraps right up against the hook shank with the bobbin. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll do a half hitch. What I like about the pen is it's hollow the whole way through, so I could really get that half hitch right up against the deer hair. So the next thing I'm going to do is take a dab of your glue and put it right where all the hair meets there, and then I'll take my Ugly Packer, aka the industrial packer. I'm going to pack all this hair back. But you know, yes, I am packing hair, but what I'm really doing is I'm packing the thread underneath the hair, so it's all bare hook right now. And then what I'll do is I'll bring the thread up against the hook shank. I'll make 3 wraps, 2, 3, all in one spot, and then I advance my thread. Now I'm going to spin it, make sure I'm kind of flat. Now I'm done with the hair stacker, so we'll get that out of our way. And now we're going to move on with our next clump, and then we're going to be doing this. Let's see, 3 more times. Okay. So I still have to comb out all that garbage. I can't be leaving that in there. That's not going to work for us. You can see it takes out quite a bit. Now I don't need any more of my tips, but what I still want to do is keep my white longer than the yellow. And the reason I'm doing the white instead of the yellow is because the white I got is actually a little longer than my yellow. Normally I'd rather have a shorter white, a longer yellow, but I got to work with what I got. So I'm going to trim out the tips because I don't really need them. So this is what I got. Now it's going to be a little bit more challenging because now I got hair in the way. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'll pull all those hairs off by the top, and then I'll bring in my hand. Now hopefully you can see all this. Let's try this again. That white is kind of a challenge now. Okay, so there is a gap between the clump of hair and the hook shank. I'm going to snug it down and put that hair exactly where I want it. Now you noticed with this finger here, I'm up against the deer hair. I'm going to flare it a little bit and just roll it around. Now pull it tight, wrap it, and pull it tight. I don't know how well this is going to turn out, but there's some hair right here that I trapped with the thread. So what I'm going to do is take my bodkin and just kind of pull that hair up so it isn't bound down with the thread. There we go. Oh, there's another little piece. If it becomes unruly, I'll just cut them out. Because I mean, we got plenty of hair in here. So now I'll pull that tight, make a wrap. Again, right on top of the original wraps. Now I'll go with the yellow. before I do that, I thought I saw white in here. There we go. I'll take my yellow and do the same thing as I did with the previous yellow. The only difference is I'm not going to use the natural tips. Now this clump's a little bigger than what I should have in there, so I'll probably remove some of it. I'll show you what I got right now. Let me just get all the fuzz out. Okay, that's a pretty healthy clump for what Huskers are doing. So I'm going to take out about like that. This much here. I'll trim off my tips. And we're going to put this one right over the hook shank, parallel to it. Or is that perpendicular? It's parallel. 1, 2, and again, I'm not actually doing a whole lot of torquing on this thing. I'm going to squeeze it, pull it straight down. If you pull it in towards you, you're going to have a tendency for that hair to want to roll on that hook shank. And I really don't want the white on top. That's not how that's not how I plan this fly. So we got that right as it is. Now we're going to go with our black again. And again, it's not going to be a lot of black. It's just enough for me to make a circle. Alright. We'll trim off our tips. That's actually a bit more than I want. Again, you can see it's not a very big clump. See, this is where I really wish I had somebody here to film me, because I'd like to have them filming over my shoulder so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. Cause I'm not so sure this is working out. I'm gonna go a little wider if I can. Maybe that'll help. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to make another wrap over it. I don't know if I already did or not. I get distracted. You know, simple minds are easily distracted. I'm living proof of that. Alright, so now we're going to take our olive. And we're going to go right on top of that black. So we'll make our little valley there. Put it in there. Make our 2 wraps. 1, 2, right on top of one another. Again, I'm going to pinch it and support the hook point. Go straight down. Straight down. Got a few whites here in the front. We'll take care of that. That are up on top. There you go. For a long time, I wouldn't do a fly like this. I would always use a solid color. It's just because my theory was that the bass really only see the belly of this fly, but then it got to be a challenge, and that's why I stack it now, and they do look neater. Okay, we got our 3 wraps in there. We're going to half hitch it. Gonna put some glue in the front of it though. Pack it on back. Now I need to make a choice here. Do I go with one more clump, or set of clumps I should say, or do I just do 2 of them? Got a yellow hair I'm just trying to pull out. It's not behaving. There we go. Don't know if you can see or not how much space I got there. I'm going to go with just one more clump on here. Sometimes I go with 4, sometimes I go with 3. It just depends on how much deer hair I'm using and what my mood is. So we're going to slice off our white. Now, one of the bad habits that I have is I crowd my eyes. And it's not really a deal breaker. It just makes it that much harder to tie off your weed guard when we're done. But we'll see how I do here. So again, I'm getting all that garbage out as much as I can. Okay, I don't know if you can say this or not. I got some jagged hairs in there. So what I'm going to do is just relax my grip, and with my palm I'm just going to pat them down. And that it's not a perfect method, but it's better than it was. So I'll just trim off our tips again. Now sometimes this works really well and sometimes it doesn't work so well, so we'll see what happens here. I'm going to wrap it around. I'm using a pinch method now, and again I got a gap between my hook and my deer hair. I'm pulling that down. Oops, that didn't work out so well, Shawn. And I'm going to roll it around to the bottom, and that didn't work out so bad at all. Got some white hairs trapped, so let's take care of that right now before I pull it tight. There we go. And then I'm going to support the hook and pull it straight down. Zigzag through it. And go straight down again. And again, I'm not being dainty when I'm pulling on this stuff. It's pretty unlikely that you're going to break this thread. It does happen on occasion, but very rarely. What I have to worry about is that it's going to slice through my hair, especially when I'm using a smaller clump. That's when it's more susceptible, easy for me to say, susceptible, to actually slicing the deer hair. Now, I've been wanting to do this fly for a very long time on video. I just haven't because I'm concerned that you're going to miss a lot of what I'm doing. Again, if I had somebody else on the camera, they'd be doing this over my shoulder. So, I clear out all the garbage. And again, that's a bit too much. Okay, so I'm going to remove some of this. About that much worth. It's not a lot, but it seems to help me. So again, we're going to pull all these hairs back. Have the deer hair right on top of the hook shank. And again, I'm using a pinch method here. Got it where I want it. Make a second wrap. And I'm going to pull this back in towards the rear, okay? And then I'm going to pull it straight down. Because I don't want it to slide off of the out past the hook eye. That doesn't do you any good. Okay, so now we're going to go with our black. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because I had a gentleman contact me and asked me if I'd do it. So, Ricky, you seem to be the motivator behind this. So thank you for doing that. Hopefully this will be of use to you. I think I got a bit too much in the black, so I'm going to take a little bit less out of there. That may be too much, we'll see. This is usually the one, if I'm going to slice my deer hair, it's going to be right here because it's a pretty small clump. Bigger clumps, it isn't so much of an issue, at least in my experience. Got a hair, white hair that wants to join the yellow and black, we can't have that. Unruly hairs get pulled out. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to pinch the black and pull it straight down. Straight down. Sounds like we're going to be having a visitor here pretty quick. I hear my wife outside talking to the dog. Okay, now we're doing our olive, our last clump. As far as trapped hairs go, I mean, I don't want to have any trapped hair, but if I do, and maybe we will in the video here, I'll show you how I remedy that problem. It's not the end of the world. Okay, this is our last clump of olive. We're gonna make a little divot, a little valley. It's a pretty big clump. Yeah, we're gonna, no, I'm just gonna leave it. Let's see how this turns out. Okay, we're gonna pinch it and pull it straight down. Pinch it, pull it straight down. Now we gotta separate our two colors here. This is usually a little easier if I had more light. I was gonna do this outside. No, I'm looking outside. It's sunny out now. I should have done it. I'd have better light. Only problem with the sun is that I like to use Solaris on the belly of this fly when I'm done. And doing it outside would be a little bit of a challenge, I would think. Okay, I'm going to pinch everything back. Oh man, I don't have a whole lot of space here. But I can see my hook, so that's not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Fugly Packer and give myself a little extra room here. Just enough so I can get this tied off. Yeah, this is going to be challenging. Like I said, every once in a while, I make life really tough on myself. This is one of them. I could see the hook, but getting these thread wraps around it, that's another story. Okay, I gotta try that packer again. If this doesn't work, what I'll do is I'll take out the last couple of clumps on top. Well, not the black. I take out the olive. Okay, see, now I can see my hook. I ought to be able to get this to work. You put it right up close and tight. All I need is one wrap and I'm good. The problem is I gotta get that one wrap. Okay, let's see if we can get it now. There we go. 1, 2, 3 wraps. I got some yellow and white blended in there. I don't really want that. Okay, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my half-inch tool. I'm going to wrap it 3 times in from right to left. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put this right up against that hook, and I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to twist it. So that's basically a whip finish. I learned this from Mr. Chris Helms, and if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Now, I've never had this ever come across. Now, with gel spun poly, if you go in here and you just snip it, it's probably not going to cut. So what you got to do is bring it all up against the hook shank, just pull it out towards you, and it'll cut this pretty nice. If you're worried about my half hitch, that's in quotes, I've never had one of these ever fall apart on me. So you take that information for what it's worth. So now I'm all done with the hair work. One thing I'm going to look at is it pretty well balanced? Like here I got a hunk of white that's not where it's supposed to be. I just pluck it out. And I have some yellows here on the bottom, but I'm not going to sweat it too much, but I want it to look good. I mean, we just spent quite a bit of time adding this hair, so we ought to do it to where it's going to look nice. So here we are, all done. So in our third installment, I'm going to do the trimming of the hair bug, and then we're going to attach the wee guards and the eyes. So I hope to see you then. Thank you for watching.